Hi, fellow whiskey lovers. Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Wednesdays. My name's Daryl Lim, and I'm your host. Macaloneys Caledonian Distillery was one of two distilleries that had invited me when I was visiting Vancouver Island this summer in August. I would like to thank Lee Baker, manager of the Visitor and Guest Experience Center at Macaloneys, for personally taking me through the distillery and giving me a guided tour of its distilling process, as well as showcasing the different malts and products that they have. This week's video is going to showcase the overview of Macaloneys whiskeys, along with their copper pot stills, a very unique feature of any whiskey distillery. What's also going to be seen on this video this week is a showcase of the local barley that is used by Macaloneys, along with their casks. And we're going to be showcasing as well and talking about their Peated Dirac Brac whiskey, which has won numerous World Whiskey Awards. So let's hear what Lee has to say about those. Take it away, Lee.
A few examples of our different whiskies and whiskey spirits. So we've got a number of different whiskey spirits, right, and a lot of different whiskies. This is probably our most popular. So this is our Glenloy. This is our whiskey maker's expression. This one's really cool because at the World Whiskey Awards 2021, this is the one that won Best Canadian Single Malt. So that was a great one. We also have a number of different in the Invermally series. So our Invermally series are all single cask whiskies. This one here is aged in a Portuguese recharred red wine.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so this is this one actually won at the 2020 awards. This won Best Single Cask Single Malt in Canada. This one is very interesting because this is a cask we use a lot, the Portuguese recharred red wine. And it's a shaved, toasted and recharred red wine.
So what kind of a flavoring do you get?
So you get a lot more of that natural caramelization. I'll show you, I have one over here. So this is an STR barrel here. So this was designed by a guy called Jim Swan. Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. Jim went and worked with Caledonian Whisky, Amrut Whisky, some of the real big players. And basically, it's a Portuguese red wine, and instead of just coming straight to us, still dripping wet with the red wine, gets sent back to the cooperage, where they shave it, toast it, and re-char it. And what that does is it gives you this lovely char on the inside, so it gets you that lovely caramelization, and also means your whiskey actually matures at a quicker rate.
Right.
You know, a good example is Caledonian. I mean, in 2015, they won Single Malt of the Year, right. Best whiskey and that was a 5-year-old whiskey.
Yep.
You know,
and I actually posted a video of the Caledonian's production process, and so my viewers saw how they actually torch them.
Oh, really? That's cool. Yeah. So we don't torch them here. They go back to the cooperage in Portugal, right? Where we get them torched again. And yeah, so that's what it was basically our OG cask. Was our
so STR. Would you say that this process allows your whiskeys to have an aged taste in a shortened time frame?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a good example of that is the first product that we ever sold of our own was our Macaloneys, right, which is a single malt spirit. And at 12 months old, it went to a blind tasting with the Drama Association, which is a very prestigious whiskey club. And at the blind tasting, they guessed it to be 8 to 10 years old, and it was 12 months old.
And what's the difference between these two barrels of the two different colors?
So yeah, this one here is a Portuguese red wine, okay, the STR. This one here is a Maker's Mark bourbon barrel. So again, we have an Invermally that's aged in a Maker's Mark. We also have an Invermally that's aged in a Moscatel barrel, and one that's aged in a port barrel as well. One over here, the big one here, this is one of our big sherry butts. So that sherry bracker that you tasted at the start, that was aged in one of these.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, where's and the name Invermally? Where's that
The Invermally, I mean, we have it all written on here.
Okay.
Let me find it for you.
Just scan over
So yeah, the River Mally.
that. Okay.
So it's to do with where Graham Macaloneys' ancestors came from. The same with our Glen Lloyd, which means Valley of the Calf, and again harks back to where his ancestors were as well. The only thing that's not BC grown, I don't know if you want to have a look at these, or BC made, is our copper pot stills. So these are our copper pot stills. So these are made by Forsyths.
Okay.
So these are from Scotland. They have to come through the Panama Canal to get here.
Wow.
Very, very beautiful thing. So we've got a wash still over here, which is 5,500, and then our spirit still over to your right, which is a little smaller, just 1,500. And of course, right in the middle there, again from Forsyths, that is our spirits safe.
Right.
Not running at the moment, but we will be looking to recommence with distilling in the next couple of months.
Do you have a distilling season, or is that full year?
We do have a more of a seasonal thing, just because of temperature.
Right.
When it gets too hot, it's just impossible to distill, because of the ambient temperature is just too high. To get the condensers working, we need that cooler water to come through to help condense the spirit. So we generally tend to stop distilling during the summer.
Just avoiding the. Are you able to speak about in terms of where you get your barley from? Do you
so
import?
all of our malt comes from Gambrinus,
Okay.
which is just on the interior. 100%.
You don't grow your own?
No, we don't grow our own. We peat it, but we don't grow it.
But it's all BC.
100% BC. We have a craft license, so we must use 100% BC grown barley. That's for both the whiskey and the beer. Yeah.
Excellent.
This is a good one to show you as well. So you can see this whiskey, so this is another spirit of ours. This is our peated Darroch Brack. So this is one of the spirits we have, which was made with the peated malts. We will be releasing our peated full-blown whiskies this Christmas.
Okay.
But what's really cool is the backbone of this, so the new make, the moonshine, the spirit, which was the backbone of this before.
Don't call it moonshine.
We don't mind, but basically the backbone of that new make at the World Awards 2020, that actually got a World's Best Award. So that was probably our biggest award. That was a World's Best.
And do you want to say anything on behalf of the distillery to your supporters out there in terms of and in relation to obviously what's going on with the SWA law?
I suppose the one message I would want to say to all our supporters is thank you. To be honest, I mean the response we've had globally, not just our founder owners, not just our local patrons, but globally, even people who had never heard of us before are essentially sending us emails, writing us letters, to the Scotch Whisky Association. We've had 100% positive feedback from it because, as you can see on the box, it quite clearly says Canadian Island, We have a map of Vancouver Island on the side of the box.
Yep.
I mean, you don't get many orcas off the coast of Scotland. I'm sure there has been, but it's not quite as common as Vancouver Island. So, we're very confident in the fact that we're not lying to people and saying that we're parading as Scotch. We don't use the word Scotch, obviously.
Right.
But no, to the supporters, it would just be a thank you because, I don't know if you saw the whiskey blogger Rafi. I don't know if you saw his video about us. Fantastic, publicity with him backing us. We've got a number of different articles, a new magazine called Stills Crazy. They had a huge open letter to the Scotch Whisky Association essentially saying, why are you picking on the little guys? So yeah, I don't want to go too much into it because of legal reasons, but the biggest thing would be just to say thank you everybody for all the support during this time.
And has your sales increased with all of the visibility and publicity since? Okay.
Yes.
There's always
Simple.
that's a positive.
The easy answer is yes. It's been it has obviously opened us up to a wider world.
Yeah.
We distribute all over Canada, and we've had people who've seen us on loads of different publications and we were on the national news, you know, throughout Canada, and we had so many emails of people asking, where can I get your whiskey from? You know, I want to support you during this time. So yeah, sales have.
And I was going to say to my viewers that it was because of that lawsuit that I learned about Macaloneys and decided to make the trip out. It's my first time on the island.
Yeah.
And we have come to the end of this week's whiskey video. This week was the second of a two-part series showcasing the Macaloneys Distillery tour. If you missed last week's episode, you can catch it right here on my channel. I would like to thank again Lee Baker, manager of their Visitor and Guest Experience Center, for being very patient for the numerous questions I had, but also personally taking me through the distillery and showcasing for all of us here the distilling process. So stay tuned for the next few weeks because we're going to be tasting the Macaloneys Caledonian Distillery lineup of 4 whiskeys: the Glenloy, the Macnabrac, the Peated Direct Brac, and a special limited edition release of the Invermally whiskey. And for all of you Canadians, you get an extra hour of drinking this weekend, but don't forget to set your clocks back before you go out on a night out at your favorite whiskey watering hold. Until then, wishing everyone a wonderful start to your November. Sláinte.